Okay, boys and girls, welcome back to the bench. As you can see in front of you, I decided that I was going to give my Pop's car a little bit of pizzazz and build the engine up as a hot rod engine. And yeah, so I got all the parts in green that you see there. I picked them all off of the sprue and categorizing them and getting ready for paint. Anyhow, speaking of paint, let me show you what we're going to be using here in this build. All of this in the front here, that's all going to be for engine, chassis, transmission, other little doodads along the way. We'll get these colors here. Then, the interior is going to get this color for sure, and that is hemp. They call that hemp. That's going to be the main color of the interior. And I might accent that with one or two of these. And this one is wood, something or other, I can't even see that, wood brown. And this one here is supposed to be brown. It looks orange to me. So, that would be interior colors. For the exterior, going to be using scale finishes. 1950 Chevrolet called number 423 Maryland Black. And that is a gloss enamel. And then everything will get primed with the gray primer from Scale Finishes. Okay, boys and girls, welcome back to the bench. As I continue on this engine, I've noticed a couple of discrepancies actually. The engine I want to build, which is this one down here, the hot rod engine, is really somebody's dream. And the reason why I say that is I was online looking for the color that the engine should be painted in, and I found out that it could be either blue or red, and excuse me, and the transmission and engine were painted in the same color. The reason why I'm thinking that this is somebody's dream engine is because I also was having a problem figuring out where these headers have to go on the cylinder head. Now, I'll show you what I mean. If you can, let me get something to point with maybe. It's not the greatest, but it'll have to work. Okay. These are where I thought the headers should sit. But if I take the headers and I put them in that position, none of the tubes line up. So my thought is that it goes on top of there where it sits flush, and to me that's where it seems like it's got to go. Now the big gap in the middle is I'm trying to figure out is the distributor goes right below that. The distributor goes into that hole right there, and let me see if I can get this in there. And this is the distributor. I'll put it in here so you can see it. Oops, come back here. Come on. Yeah, okay. Now, stay there. Okay, you can see how the distributor is mounted in there, and it's, oh, alright. It's pretty tall. And so I'm thinking that's what this gap is for. It's for the distributor cap to stick up under there. Now I went ahead and ordered from VCG a different type of a 6-cylinder. First of all, as I mentioned earlier, this was a dual cap distributor cap. It had a gazillion terminals on it. I decided I'm just going to put a 6-cylinder distributor in here and be done with it. So I ordered a distributor from VCG company. Anyhow, everyone that I looked up had this setup where the exhaust manifold and the intake manifold were both on the same side. And if you look at the parts, the heads are different. And I mentioned that earlier also. This head down here is designed for the injectors, and this head here is designed for the intake and exhaust mountings. So I'm going to do this the way I think it should be done, and that is to put the headers on top of those ports, and also in between each one of those humps is where a spark plug goes. And that looks correct because there's 6 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's enough space for the spark plugs. That's why I'm thinking that these headers have to go on top. And the spark plug wires, because there's hardly any room under there. You guys can see that. So the boots on the spark plug wires have to be 90 degrees down. I am going to see how this is all going to work out, because to me, I don't think there's going to be enough room for me to do what I want to do. But I will try my hardest to give this engine some detail. Alright, so I mentioned that the paint could be either red or blue, so I'm going to use this Scale Finishes. It's an interior blue, but it happens to be the only blue that I have. And it seems like it's a nice color. And also, I mentioned in my opening video that I was going to paint the interior with the paints I showed you. That's changed also. Again, I'm going to use some Scale Finishes. And these are the two that I'm going to be using. This one is Woven Tan. And this one is Interior Beige. So I think those two colors will go good together. Plus maybe some chrome accents or whatever. Anyhow, I'm going to paint the head on here like an aluminum, like a high performance head. I'm going to paint the block with the blue. I'm going to paint the transmission with the oily steel. And we've got black for the generator, black for the fan, rubber black for these guys right here, the hoses and the belts and so on and so forth. So, with all that being said, I'm doing a lot of yapping and no building, so let's get going. We'll be back soon. Okay, boys and girls, here's my engine block painted. It's a nice color blue. I like it, actually. Now I am going to do the transmission, and I'm going to do that with oily steel, and we're going to do that on camera. So, here we go. Okay, boys and girls, there you go. 6 spark plug holes drilled, and of course I broke the bit in the first hole. So I'm gonna have to just fake it and just put a piece of wire on there and hope that it holds. Anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and paint the starter, and then I'm gonna mount the transmission and the valve cover and even the injectors. But I won't put the headers on right now until I get the distributor, so I can do all of that. Now the wiring for the distributor probably won't be very much longer than what those are right there. I just put those in there for demo purposes, just to show you that the holes have been drilled. Anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and assemble this little guy, and we'll see how it looks when I get a few more parts on there. Be right back. Okay, boys and girls, we are back at the bench, and as you can see, I've got a lot done since the last video clip. Let me explain what I got done. I got my starter and my wire painted and secured. My oil pan's on, my cylinder head and valve cover is on. The distributor in this vehicle is from VCG Resins. Beautiful 6-cylinder with vacuum advanced, no less. And the vacuum advance is legitimate for this engine. I already checked that. Anyhow, the breather tube right here. And down here, let's see if I can lift this up. You guys can see this a little better. My fuel pump, and you can see I got a line that runs around to the other side of the engine and goes up into the fuel injection rail. Also, I mentioned the vacuum advance, and I got the vacuum advance hose coming into the top of the manifold over here and runs around and goes into the distributor. Generator and wire. Basically, this engine is ready to go into the car. Fan and all the fan belts, blah blah blah. The breather. You gotta watch the only thing I gotta say about the VCG resins is the bottom half, the shaft part. Let me see if I can get this better in here. The shaft part is very thin and very brittle, and I did break it. Luckily, I was able to glue it back together. And this particular car, I did do the firing order. And the reason why I did the firing order is because it was the same exact firing order as the BMW 6-cylinder, 153624. And it's like I got that drilled into my head so hard. But when I looked up the firing order on this and I saw that it was the same, now I got to do it. So, number 1 starts the second tower from the vacuum advance, and it goes clockwise. So it's 1, 5, 3, 6, 2, 4. Anyhow, you can see the top of the engine right there. Sorry, let me back this camera out a bit. Might help. Yeah, there you go. Cylinder head, nice chrome valve cover. I'm going to leave that alone. I don't think there's any much more I can do with this engine other than putting the headers on. Now, I was concerned about the height of the wires versus the headers, and when I put the headers on there, it's perfect. There's no interference under there. So, with all of that being said, one more thing I have to show you, and that is the body, because the body is in color. And I told you that my dad's car was black, and this car has not been touched as far as wet sanding or any such body enhancements. So, let me put that away. And here you go. That's looking pretty good, I think. So, a little wet sanding, a little polish, a little wax. I think this car is going to look really good. So, with all of that being said, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video. And as always, your questions, comments, input, sub, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all, folks. Pit Stop Scale Model Garage out for now. Stay tuned for part 3. Toodles!